Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka Jay Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Hump Day, Wednesday, February 7th of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully, you guys are having a wonderful week so far. Let's go ahead and hop into these astrological transits for today so we can see how you can be better prepared to navigate these celestial energies on this hump day. All right, let's go ahead and pull up that calendar. So we're going to have Mars sextile Neptune today. The moon is also going to enter its balsamic phase, while Venus will round out the day, trining over to Uranus. So some positive aspects today overall. But like I said, the moon does enter that balsamic phase. So definitely from an emotional standpoint, things get a lot more intense when the moon enters that last 30 degrees leading up to the new moon. All right, so let's drill down. Let's go ahead and take care of the actual chart here for you. Gotcha. So, as you can see at the current moment, at the time of me making this, the moon is here at 15 degrees of Capricorn. We do have, of course, Venus here at 18 degrees as well. And of course, we do have Mars here at 25 degrees, which has already began to make its sextile over to Neptune. Now, I mean, this is a pretty positive aspect. You know, Mars, of course, is exalted in Capricorn. Neptune rules Pisces. So both of these energies are rather strong. Now, considering the degree, of course, which Neptune's been at 25 degrees for a while, mind you, it's going to be very spiritual in nature. But there's going to be an opportunity that opens up here where, when it comes to that Mars energy and it comes to moving forward and climbing the mountain and taking some really bold action, it really can be spiritual in nature. I think this is going to be one of the things where we have to feel inspired and feel like the purpose that we have is spiritual in nature. I think that's what's happening here with this opportunity that opens up between these two energies. Now, of course, Mars is heading towards that Pluto in Aquarius. So the world is shifting. The world has shifted forever. These are energies that we are not used to. We're not used to a Mercury that came on top of Pluto at 0 degrees. Okay. We're not used to a new moon that's building up in Aquarius while Pluto is there, right? We're not used to Mars and Venus that's going to cross over Pluto. We're not used to these energies. And I think that's something that we need to take into consideration. Mars and Capricorn, of course, it's the leader. It wants to really be seen. It's the general in the army, if you will. And with they sextile over to Neptune here, like I said, there's an opportunity that does open up where, we can become more inspired. We may get like a little gift or epiphany, I guess you could say, from the universe as far as like, okay, how to move, how to act, which way to go, and to, kind of trust the process. There's an element of faith here. There's an element of, like I said, trusting the process when it comes to this sort of sextile. Because, like I said in yesterday's forecast, we're in a time right now where the universe is wanting us to give it a shot, wanting us to try, wanting us to experiment, wanting us to go outside our comfort zone, wanting us to do something unique, wanting us to innovate, and not just do the same old, and not just do the things that are going to give us that B minus or that B kind of experience, but to actually go for that A plus experience, to go for S rank, to go for the highest rank, you know what I'm saying? And this is going to be, like I said, none of those opportunities today with this sextile where, we can feel more instilled with purpose. Mars in Capricorn, it is the leader, it is the general, but especially making this aspect to Neptune, it definitely has to have a bit of a purpose. Now, of course, Neptune is one of those planets too where it's probably one of the toughest planets because Neptune will just wash you away without a second thought too. So that's the other thing about this, that even though it's a sextile and it's generally a positive alignment, I guess the negative part of this alignment would just be careful to not get completely washed away by the media, to get completely washed away by propaganda, to get completely washed away by different stories that can knock you off your track, different stories that will, shield you from really truly expressing who you are. And this is a time, is another opportunity that will arise here, is the opportunity to get distracted. Today could be a day where you simply get distracted a lot, especially with that Neptune here. It's like Wizard of Oz kind of energy. So it's like you could be moving towards something. It's starting to really experiment, starting to really innovate, starting to feel your power, and then boom, a distraction comes up, and you want to just kind of be wary of that. Now, of course, we are going to see as the day progresses, we're going to see that Venus hit over to 19 degrees, right? And once it hits 19 degrees, of course, it is going to make the trine over to Uranus. Now, Venus likes being in Taurus. And then, of course, Uranus doesn't really care about being in Taurus. That's where it falls. But there's a trine here, harmonious aspect. Now, granted, they do make an aspect over to Juno. So we actually do have a bit of a grand Earth trine today with Venus, Uranus, and Juno. Interesting. We've been getting a lot of the grand Earth trines lately. It's the one that we've been getting the most. So it lets me know that as far as like these portals, I look at grand Earth trines as a sort of like a portal. As far as this goes, I'm seeing that this is like really an opportunity for us to really see that the world is shifting. I think this is about, especially with Uranus here, which is all about electricity, randomness, the quantum field. You know, we have in our mind that things are always going to be a certain way and structures are going to stay the same. And then you have so many people that over the last 3 years, over the last 3 to 4 years, with all of the changes, all of the upheaval that's happened in the world, they just want things to go back to the way they were. They're not. They're not going to go back to the way that things were. And we have to learn how to be okay with the new structures that are coming, the new structures that are needing to be built, because the old ways are falling, they are collapsing, they are done. We have to come into a whole new way of relating to each other, relating to our work, relating to career and our legacy, because that's what Venus is all about. We have to come into a whole new aspect of that. We have to really innovate the way that we see our work, the way that we see our value and our self-worth, the way that we see money and our relationship with money. Excuse me. And then, of course, with Juno here in Virgo, and Juno is the planet of marriage and commitment, but it's in Virgo, so it's our daily life. So we have to like really go back and look at our commitment to our daily life. What are we doing on our daily life? Everyone has 24 hours. What are you doing with that? Are you doing something different? Are you making a difference? Are you working towards your craft? Are you putting the hours in towards your goals? Are you putting that time in to manifest what it is that you really want to manifest? That's really what this is going to come down to. And of course, things get a little bit more intense as the moon comes over Venus today. It will hit the 19 degrees, so it will join up in the trine, and we're going to feel it more intensely, but we're going to be feeling it primarily from a Venus aspect. So that's the thing about this. How do you relate to this Capricornian energy? How do you relate to your career? How do you relate to responsibility? How do you relate to adulting, if you will? How do you relate to this world that is collapsing and stuff like that? That's changing forever. There's a lot of electricity, there's a lot of upheaval too, especially with it being in trine to Uranus and stuff, especially with Pluto that just spent the last 15 years here in Capricorn wrecking the fuck out of shit. Now we're going to really start to feel this more intensely. And with this moon moving into its balsamic phase, the last 30 degrees before the sun, there's a reason why I put it on the calendar, because I've noticed that the day and a half, 2 days where it's here in the balsamic phase, usually it's pretty intense emotionally. And this one's going to be very intense because we haven't seen a moon come on top of Venus, Mars, leading up to Pluto in Aquarius, leading up to the new moon in Aquarius. We've never seen that before. So we are experiencing brand new energy. Like I said, unless you're 200 years, like 240 years old, you haven't seen this energy before. You haven't seen a moon come on top of Venus, come on top of Mars, come on top of Pluto, come on top of Mercury, leading up to the new moon in Aquarius, while Pluto was also in Aquarius. Because the last time that the moon even did this, leading up to a new moon in Aquarius, Pluto was in Capricorn, right? Mercury I think Mercury was in Aquarius, Mars was over in Gemini, and Venus was like in Pisces. So we haven't really experienced this energy, and the fact that a lot of these energies, the personal planets, like I said, are involved here. We're going to be feeling this on a personal level. That's the interesting thing about this too, because we can look out at society at large, and we can start to blame society at large for our troubles and our woes and why we can't do something instead of taking some personal responsibility. That's like a toxic word these days, responsibility, because people do not like that word. But taking some personal responsibility and dissect what is our role in this and how can we make a change, how can we make a difference in our own lives, and not just continually blame the world when the world is just the sum of its parts. These companies are the sum of their parts. All of these organizations that we feel may lord over us or have power over us are the sum of its parts, which comes down to people. It comes down to people. We are moving into a more Aquarian type of vibe over the next 20 years. We are moving into the age of Aquarius. We're not quite there yet, but we're moving into that age. So it's going to become, instead of it being more like corporate and business from that aspect, void of the emotion or trying to suppress the emotion, it's going to become more along the lines of friendship, which is what Aquarius is. We are going into the age of guilds, if you will. Going into the age of guilds. I'm watching Fairy Tale right now, and it's essentially in a world. If you haven't watched Fairy Tale, like I said, it's an anime, but it's essentially in a world where magic is involved, and you have wizards that use different kinds of magic, and they can join guilds, and then people will submit requests to these guilds, and then the wizards can take on these jobs, and that's how they earn their keep. That's the kind of world that we're kind of moving into. And I can actually see that. Now, whether magic actually starts to come up and we actually start shooting fireballs from our hands is another story. But that's the kind of world that we're moving into, where friendship is power. The power of friendship is actually going to be one of the major themes over the next 20 years. And in order for us to open up to that world, we first have to heal our relationship to the Saturnian Capricorn aspects. Remember, Aquarius was ruled by Saturn as well, medievally, traditionally. So now we're going to move. So we're moving from this Capricorn into the more Aquarian vibe. Said this balsamic phase of this moon leading up to the new moon in Aquarius is going to bring up a lot of these things. And even though these are the last signs of the zodiac, which generally deals with people, larger groups of people, and the masses, because the personal planets are here, it's going to hit a little bit closer to home than we realize. So if we are looking out and we're blaming the world and blaming other people for whatever it is that we are perceived to have happened to us, we have to take a close look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what was our role in this as well? How did we participate in this game of musical chairs? And what can we do differently and move differently and think differently and connect differently to make a positive change? Now, this, like the transformation of society at large, the fabric of it, it's a slow process. It's not going to happen immediately, but it is happening. And I know we all can sense it. We all sense that something is coming and that something is definitely different, right? But like I said, it's going to be the world's changed forever. It's not going to go back to the way it was. It's not going to go back to pre-2020. It's not going to go back and look like that. The world already shifted in 2012, but it's not, and the consciousness is already. So that's the thing. Consciousness is already rising. You don't know how many posts I've seen on Facebook with people becoming more aware of themselves, and it's uncomfortable too. Like, no one said that this journey was going to be easy. I think that's what you're experiencing. You're seeing a lot of people waking up and they realize just how comfortable it is because they realize that they've been sleeping in a bed of shit, and they got to see reality for what it is, and it's unnerving. And there's an aspect where maybe there's a bit of powerlessness, a feeling of powerlessness, because you're like, I'm just one person. What can I do? Well, you can beautify the energy around you, and you can beautify your own life, therefore beautifying the lives around you. That's what you can do. You ever meet people where their energy is just infectious, where it's just contagious, and they just exude this sense of joy, and they just exude this sense of just they're full of life despite all the things that have happened, right? And yeah, maybe it's a facade, maybe it's that, but the people that you can sense that are genuinely happy, it's contagious, right? They do that despite everything. So you have to be like the lantern in the dark, you know, and that's how you fight back. I think sometimes we focus so much on the big picture with the Capricorn and Aquarius energy and the Pisces energy, wanting to heal the entire world, wanting to try and fix the entire world. But we have to remember that it starts with us. And we don't necessarily have to come up with solutions to save the world right now. Remember, Chiron and the North Node are in Aries. Jupiter and Uranus are in Taurus. So this is about yourself and your values primarily, right? And we have to remember these energies that are involved here too. So you don't have to feel like you have to save the world. It may feel uncomfortable. You may start to see other people start to wake up. There's also, like I said, an element here where we are definitely wanting to connect more and more and more to other people. The sun is going to be building up to its square to Uranus, which is going to happen tomorrow. And, you know, like I said, we're wanting to connect more with people, but we also have like sort of like this emergency brake kind of energy where we're maybe afraid to connect with people based off of what's happened in the past. Well, things are shifting, things are moving to the future, and we are all experiencing energies that we've never experienced before. So give it a shot. Give it a shot. Give it an honest shot and see what happens, because you may just be surprised at who you connect with and what you're able to manifest together. Because right now, more than ever, we have to be able to work together for sure. Let's get into the cards. Teamwork makes the dream work, and that is so freaking true more than ever now. More than ever now. All right, let me give this another couple of decent shuffles. Let's see what we got here. Wow, well, look at that. I got the Four of Wands again. Four of Wands. This is nice. This is bringing like a nice, beautiful energy. I felt like I said, we can recommit ourselves back to our life and recommit ourselves back to other people and our passions and our love for life. That's really what this comes down to. We had to have this sort of infectious energy every day of our lives if we can. A lot of people, they say that like the happiest day of their life is like the day they got married, and then it's like, well, you're just setting yourself up for failure because you're just gonna that just means that it's just going to continue to go downhill from there. You're not going to be able to ever reach that pinnacle. You're not ever going to be able to reach that zenith. But you have to be able to carry this energy with you throughout the rest of your days. And that's really what this comes down to. Draw another card. It's funny, I cut the deck hoping that I would get a different card, but I ended up getting the Ten of Cups. So that's actually a very beautiful thing, talking about this nice emotional fulfillment. I freaking love this card. It's very beautiful. So yeah, emotional fulfillment, when you recommit yourself to your life, when you commit to your path, when you commit to your passions, when you commit to the inspiration, and not just allow it to just stay as inspiration because it's inspired, it's in spirit. So you want to be able to take that which is in the spirit, which is ethereal, and actually bring it in and actually manifest it physically, right? So a lot of times when we get inspired by something, right, a lot of times it'll stay in that etheric, unseen world, but we have to be able to take that inspiration and actually like do something with it and then put it out into the world and actually make manifest with it, right? So I think this can be a very inspiring time. I think this can be a time where we feel like we can recommit ourselves back to life, recommit ourselves to our sense of purpose and destiny and legacy, if you will, all of these seemingly big things, but it just takes the one step. It may seem like a big thing, it may seem daunting at first, it may seem like it looms over us, and we can be like, how in the world could I even possibly pull this shit off? But believe in yourself, man. Believe in yourself. Like this is a very positive, powerful time with all these energies. We have never experienced this before. So give it a shot. Innovate. Do something different. Connect. You'll be surprised at what happens. Bottom of the deck, I have the King of Cups. Yep. So this is the man who is emotionally sound, who is connected with his emotions, he is in touch with his emotions, but he does not necessarily allow his emotions to get the better of him. And honestly, the fact that it's upright lets me know that at least with Neptune today, Neptune's going to be a bit more benevolent in its energies. So it lets me know that this is actually now. If it was the other way, if it was reversed, I'd be a little bit more worried about Neptune just sweeping things away without a second thought. But the fact that it's upright means that the ocean is kind of calm today. So because the ocean is a bit calmer today, we can actually go out there and fish and let's see what we can catch. You may be surprised, you may actually get a lot bigger catch today than you realize. But first, you have to overcome the fear of even going out there too, and you have to just simply go out on that boat into the ocean, metaphorically, and go ahead and cast that line and see what you catch. Because, like I said, you never know what you're going to catch, but you first have to take that first step. That is going to do it for your daily astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful hump day, and I will see you all on the next astrology forecast. Peace out.